Welcome back, Investor Forever here, and this is week 5. I want to start this episode by showing you something that happened this week that felt different from everything else that I've shown thus far on this channel. So my checkbook came in the mail and I haven't used it yet, but since being in this account, I have paid my water bill and I paid my internet bill, which I think actually came out of another account, but I did pay my first bill out of this account, and it came directly from the Fidelity Cash Management, not from a bank, not from a paycheck, from the same account where my ETFs live, the same account where my dividends land, and the same account that's growing every single week as I'm documenting here on this channel. And that's exactly what this channel is about. The system is working, and today I want to slow down and actually teach you how and why it works, because we're 5 weeks in and it's time to dive a little bit deeper. So let's dive. All right, so quick update before we get into the education. Another week, another $1,000 roughly made. So that means 10% is going directly into the portfolio. I've been consistently doing this for about 5 weeks now, and consistency is the only thing that matters at this stage, not necessarily the amount, but the practice involved. So the checkbook, that wasn't like the big deal this week. It was a big, accomplishment is realizing that this is a real thing now, and proof of integration, being able to write checks and do different things in this account. But this account is handling real bills and spending and investing all in one place. So no more just splitting up money between the bank and the brokerage. It's one account, one system working towards the same end goal. And here's what I want you to take from that. Most people never combine their banking and investing because nobody told them that they could. They keep a checking account for their bills and their income and stuff, and a saving account for emergencies, and maybe a separate brokerage if they even invest. That fragmentation and just splitting up everything is exactly what slows wealth building down. So every time that money moves between accounts, it creates friction, and friction creates delay. And delay costs you compounding in the long run. And this system is going to eliminate that. As you see here, I have a verification of a direct deposit that I have to complete. That's going to basically eliminate me having that friction and delay between my Walmart income, whatever else I do on the side. Everything is going to be direct deposited over into here, even as you see my BPO income. That I still have to do manually because they pay through PayPal. Other than that, everything is going to be direct deposited on time, every time. So let me break down exactly how this system works from the moment that money enters the account to the moment that it's multiplied, because I think a lot of people watch these videos and they see the end result without understanding the mechanics underneath it. So let's fix that here. So step 1, every dollar lands in the cash management account first. And it doesn't matter where it comes from, whether it's a Spark run on a Tuesday or a BPO payment on Thursday or a real estate commission, whatever. Everything is going to come here first. And this account is like, it acts as the intake valve of the entire system. So this is the waiting room, basically. And while it's sitting here waiting to be deployed, it's earning 3.28% in the SPACs automatically, which is roughly 3.3%, as I've been calling it. But it's not just nothing. It's not 0.01% like most banks. It's earning at 3.3% every week. And now for step 2. 10% gets deployed immediately into income ETFs. So the moment that the money hits, 10% gets moved into the brokerage and invested. Not when I feel like it, not when the market looks right, but immediately. This is called paying yourself first, and it's the single most important habit in personal finance. This happens before the bills, before the groceries, before the baby mama, baby daddy, whoever. Before anything, this portfolio gets its percentage first. As you see, I have now 3 positions that I'll be adding on to this week as well. And as I've already showed here, step 3, the remaining 90% handles life. So that's bills, which as you see, the first bill that I paid out of the account is right here. I paid my Verizon bill, paid my internet. Eventually, once we start deploying our full check into these ETFs and living off of the margin and then replenishing that with the income that comes in, cash balance will run low. Margin covers that gap automatically. The cash manager will pull from the margin line, and then I'll carry it for probably a few days, and the next deposit will clear that. The interest on a few days of margin at my balance is literally cents, not even dollars at this point, just because it's very small. And now on step 4, where the dividends reinvest automatically through DRIP. So every payment from JEPI, XPay, SPY goes straight back into buying more shares, and I never have to touch it. I never log in. I never manually reinvest anything. The machine and the system does it all automatically. And every new share purchased earns the next dividend, which as you know, buys more shares, which earns the next dividend, and that loop never stops. And then the portfolio grows, so the margin has access. This is step 5. So here's the part that most people miss. As the portfolio grows, two things happen simultaneously. The dividend income goes up, but the available margin also proportionally grows, which means that over time, the system can cover larger bills from margin while the dividends catch up to cover them. Eventually, the dividends cover everything and the margin balance stays at zero. And that's the whole system in 5 steps, all in one account working towards the same end goal. All right, so going back over to the positions tab, why I chose these specific ETFs. So let me talk about why I chose these specific ETFs. So I'm not holding these randomly. Each one is doing a specific job in the portfolio. And eventually I am going to add more positions as this account starts to grow. I'm going to add more growth ETFs here in the future. So JEPI, as we've stated before, JP Morgan, this is the anchor. So it's been around since 2020. It has over $35 billion in assets under management. It has a track record of consistent monthly distributions. This yield sits around 8 to 9% annually. It uses a covered call strategy on the S&P 500, meaning that it sells option contracts to generate premium income on top of the dividends from the underlying stocks. So it's the most stable income ETF in my portfolio at this time, and the one that I trust the most at this stage. Just thinking back to when you think of JP Morgan, you typically think of Chase, and if you know those two names, you understand why I'm invested here. So XPay is Round Hill S&P 500. This one is targeting a 20% annual yield. That's aggressive, and the price volatility definitely reflects that. So as you saw in the last video, it was down 10% on this position. The thesis that the distributions is pays out over time, offset, and eventually outweigh the price decline. So I'm watching this carefully, and as you see, it's even down more since recording last week. But I'll continue to report what I honestly see here. And at this stage, it's literally pennies, or I guess you could say dollars. It's down $4.41. But even that, I mean, we're sitting at roughly almost $3,000, and I'm about to pull more money into this after my mortgage comes out. I'm going to pretty much replenish that soon. I'll go ahead and do that today, actually. And then next on the list, we have SPYI, NEOS Fund, S&P 500. This one is one of the most that I'm excited about at this point, because this is the one I'm most excited about long term. So around 12% yield paid monthly, but the differentiator is the tax structure on this one. SPYI uses what's called Section 1256 contracts, which basically means that the income is taxed. 60% is long-term capital gains, is 40% as short-term. Most covered call ETFs like JEPI pay out almost entirely as ordinary income, which is taxed at the full rate. SPYI structure is more tax efficient and more complicated, so consult with your own tax professional on this. But basically what it means to me is that more of what it pays me, I actually get to keep, and that's obviously important as I'm trying to grow this account. So those are 3 ETFs. They all offer different yields and have different structures, and most importantly, different risk profiles. But together they create a diversified income stream that pays me every single month. And that's the ultimate goal here. Multiple sources of monthly income, all reinvested automatically, and growing the base for the next payment. So here's where everything basically stands right now. We're at a total portfolio value of $2,732.91. And this is growing every week and shrinking, of course, because I'm spending out of this account. I'm investing, things are moving, they're fluctuating, everything's in motion. I have 3 positions active. I've got dividends received and reinvested across all of them. And this week's $100 from the 10% rule gets deployed today. It's been a long day. It's Monday, of course. Happy Monday. I recorded this video once and I don't know what happened. So this is the second recording. Hopefully I can get this done today. But yeah, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to buy more shares. That's more dividend based, more drip fuel for next month's payment. And yeah, so I want to show you something on the position screen that's real easy to miss if you don't know where to look. So if you go right here, you'll click dividend view, and sorry for that little box right there. But you see right here, estimated annual income. So what's invested, it'll show you right here what you are expected to earn from this particular share itself. So overall, at my account value, I earned $33.86 in annual income based on my current holdings. So every time that I add shares, that number is going to grow up. And it's still very small. I understand that. But I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But it is directional. And direction held consistently over time is everything in compounding. So 1 year from now, if I invest $100 every week consistently, that's $5,200 a year added to the portfolio annually on top of the dividend reinvestments at a blended yield of roughly 10 to 12% across these three ETFs. That's over $600 in annual dividend income generated by next July alone. The $600 that came from owning things. And that's the whole difference. That's the point of this right here. It's not about active income. This is truly passive income. Now, you do have to actively earn income to invest into this system, but you don't have to work for it. You can go to sleep. You can wake up. You can not wake up and it's still gonna pay you. Obviously, I want you to wake up, but still, you get what I'm saying. And that's just if I do $100 a week. Now, once I start getting more closings and start earning more income, that $100 a week is gonna tremendously grow, and that's just gonna speed up this process even more. So that's not retirement money yet, but that is just about my water bill. That's half of my internet bill. So covered by income that the portfolio generates. That's the system working and scaling toward something real. Now, I want to pause for a minute and tell you about something that I'm building. And I'm telling you this now because it came directly out of building this system. So I'm 5 weeks in. I've been building, tracking everything manually. The income from the Spark, BPO payments, the 10% calculations, the drip payments, the dividend reinvestments, like all of it, the portfolio value week over week, what bills got paid, what margin balance is outstanding, if any. Like, it's a lot to track. And right now I'm doing it across just my notes app in my phone, the Google spreadsheet, and my own memory, honestly. And I realized that there's no tool built for someone doing exactly this. So there are budgeting apps out there, there are portfolio trackers, yes. There are income trackers, but there's nothing that connects all three for someone with irregular income like myself, like a gig worker or a 1099 contractor or a real estate investor or a real estate agent who's also building an income portfolio and running a margin strategy simultaneously. So I'm building it, and it's called Divider. Now, Divider is going to be an income and expense tracker and portfolio manager built specifically for people like us, people with variable income, people investing in income ETFs, and people running percentage-based allocation strategies to save and invest their money. So people who need to see their dividend income, the margin balance, their bill coverage ratio, and the portfolio growth all in one place. Now, I'm not ready to show it to you yet, but I am building it in real time. So the same way I'm building this portfolio, I'll be documenting the progress right here on this channel. And I'll most likely have something tangible by the end of this week. So just keep an eye out on that. If there's something that you want to be the first to know about, subscribe and stay tuned, because when Divider launches, then my Investor Forever subscribers are going to be the first ones through the door. So that's week 5. Like I said, I got my checkbook in the mail. I paid my water bill, internet bill, mortgage too. That was kind of like a bonus, all from the brokerage account. Before the end of the day, I'm going to have another $100 invested from the money that I made last week. So I've got 3 ETFs compounding and a new tool in development that's going to change how gig workers and income investors track their money. So this channel is growing into something bigger than just a portfolio journal. It's becoming the blueprint, and I want you building alongside me. So next week, I'm going to dive deeper into the margin mechanic, specifically how to use it intelligently without letting it become a liability. And that's an episode a lot of people need, and I'm going to break down clearly. So subscribe if you haven't, drop a comment, and tell me what's the first bill that you pay from your portfolio if you could. Let's talk about it. Investor Forever. Let's build.